How are you? Hi, I'm Elise Jacob with the Florida Property Brokers. I also happen to be the chair for this year's professional development. And this is one of our events that we put on today from the professional development, our economics panel committee, subcommittee put on. So if you're on the subcommittee or with professional development, if you guys could just stand up, please, so we can be recognized. There's my vice chair just walked in. Derek just walked in, but thank you. Oh, there he is. Thank you guys for your hard work putting this panel on today. It takes a lot of work to get organized with bringing these fine people here to come to talk today. Sorry. I was asked to bring up this weekend is a Florida cleanup waterway. Please sign up. It's a community event. Bring your clients, bring your family. There's 2 different places that we're doing in Sarasota and in Manatee County, Coquina and Sarasota. Where's it? Sarasota. Go turn around the back. Location is Ted's Spring Park. You get a daiquiri deck little gift certificate afterwards. So help do the waterway. This is we're getting photography down from Florida Realtors to do a little thing with us too. So bring the community out, guys. This is a big event. So please help with the waterways. It's fun. It's from like 7 to 9. But it's an open community, kind of coincides with why our community's here. So I would like to bring up our moderator today, and he's going to introduce our panel. All right. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. And this is open and comfortable. So just chime in if you guys have questions for anybody. All right. Thank you. Sorry, it's David.
Good afternoon, everybody. Let me make sure I'm not muted here. All right, is that better? All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm David Crawford, the current vice president here at Raisem. First off, thank you to the committee and everyone who took some time out of your day to come here. Most importantly, our panelists, thank you so much. We know you guys' time is very valuable. We appreciate your insight, your knowledge, and your ability to come share with us, make us better and stronger as an organization. So thank you guys very much. Just kind of quick highlight what we'll do. I'll give everybody an opportunity to kind of do a little about themselves.
There's a sign-in sheet right up there on the counter.
Real quick, then we'll kind of get in. We have some questions that were kind of already put together by the subcommittee. So we'll kind of walk through some of that. We want to keep it more of a kind of open flow dialogue conversation. And then we'll kind of finish with kind of just open-ended, Q&A for anybody who has any more pointed questions. But like Elise said, raise your hand. This is not meant to be super formal. It's more of just have a nice conversation, get caught up on, what's going on in our counties. We will start here right to my right with Josh Ewan, who is the Director of Economic Development for the Sarasota EDC. And Josh, I'll give you a couple minutes to give a little quick spiel and get from there.
Is that working? Yeah. Okay, well, hi, everyone. Josh Ewan, I'm the VP of Economic Development for the Economic Development Corporation. We're a 501c6 public-private partnership that looks to diversify the local economy throughout the county as we help local targeted industry businesses grow and expand here, as well as attract new companies into our county limits to the benefit of our residents, our government partners, and to all of you in the room. A little bit about myself. So I am a longtime public employee, made the switch over to the nonprofit world when I came here to Florida about 1.5 years ago. Was formerly in California in the San Francisco Bay Area, working in local land use planning, economic development, program development, career-wise. Myself and my family saw a great opportunity to come here, much like all the people that we interact with that are relocating to our market, of, what does the future hold for this area? And we saw a very friendly business focus and a high level of opportunity when it came to relocating our family here. So it's been a great opportunity. In my role, I lead a team of about 3 people. One is a research specialist that has really kind of their pulse to the local business community and does a lot of business visits locally in our targeted industries. And then I also manage our national and international marketing channels for business attraction into the community and making sure that Sarasota County is known nationally and throughout the world as a great place to come do business and make a long-term investment in the growth of individual companies. So I'm really excited about the future. I think there's a lot of opportunity that I'll outline in some of the items that we speak about today in this panel. But just thank you for having me, and I look forward to the discussion.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Josh, again for being here. And then to Josh's right, we have Karen Corbin, who is the Executive Director of Realize Bradenton.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm Karen Corbin. I am with Realize Bradenton. For those of you that are not familiar, Realize Bradenton was founded in 2009 by the city leaders of Bradenton, just before the Riverwalk was built. So we didn't build the Riverwalk, but we were very instrumental in activating it. So all the parks and things that you see there were suggested, and we did a lot of the community development to Realize Bradenton. Over the years, we've become a small economic driver for the city through events and special projects and initiatives. If you are familiar with the city at all, we are known for our public market. We are known for Winter Wonderland now. And there was Art Slam before COVID, which was very well known. And the region now has an enormous amount of potential for growth, and we are very excited to be a part of it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Karen. And don't forget the music series in October. I know John Movement's coming there then in October. They're one of my favorite. Well, and I always think that, everyone says, Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. And there's some truth to that. But every good public space needs to be activated. We've seen that out in, Welland Park with the growth. We've seen it in downtown Waterside. I'm sure Sandy can speak on, but you really do have to activate it. You got to program it. So I think that is great work, and people don't always understand that it takes that extra level of just putting a river walk or putting a community space is not the end of the solution. So thank you so much. We will move on next to Kelly DeFebo, who is the Vice President of Visit Sarasota County.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm Kelly DeFebo, the Vice President of Marketing and Communications for Visit Sarasota. We are a 501c3. We are the tourism marketing destination for Sarasota County. We get our dollars through tourist development tax dollars from Sarasota County government. So any visitor staying in overnight paid lodging, we get a portion of that. So we get about 20 to 22% of the monies collected from that tax. The rest go to beach renourishment, the Arts and Cultural Alliance. So there are a few different things that money goes to, but we get about 20 to 22% of that. So this year we are running about a $7 million budget. And we promote Sarasota County domestically, internationally. We promote it across all different types of markets, to the meetings market to bring in conventions to the area, to travel agents, to meeting planners, the international market. Our key markets there are UK, Canada, and Germany. So we have a firm in Germany and a firm in the UK that we work with. So we're really out there trying to reach all different types of markets, and obviously the sports market. That's a big one. Everybody's really excited about all the exciting sports things happening in our destination too. So that is really what we do. What I do, I work with our agency of record, our domestic PR firm of record, and also I manage our UK and international firms as well. So I handle basically all of the marketing and communications that come out of Visit Sarasota County. I have a team of 2 amazing people, and then we are a staff of 13. So we're small but mighty, and we also, interesting tidbit, we share an office with the EDC. So they have one side and we have the other. So thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. And then to her right, we have Sandy Shahinian, VP of Marketing and Sales for Lakewood Ranch Communities, which is very impressive, but she's a fellow Gator, which is even more close to my heart. So yeah.
Well, thank you guys for coming today. Hopefully you all know what Lakewood Ranch is. We are the #1 best-selling master plan community for all ages in the country now for more than 6 years. We are 33,000 acres, which, just to put that in perspective, that's bigger than the city of San Francisco. And that's comprised of about 33 villages total. 15 of those villages are actively selling with homes from the 300s to well over 1 million from 19 different builders. We also own and operate 2 of our 3 town centers, Main Street and Waterside Place, and those are major, not only economic drivers for our region, but also lifestyle components. We are home to the #1 market for the, #1 farmers market in Florida, which is operated year round. We have our Music on Main series, uh, ranch nights through the fall and spring, performing art series, bringing in all sorts of regional acts, as well as, I'm forgetting one more. Music, I know I said Music on Main. A lot of other events too. Anyways, so in my role, I'm in charge of our brand marketing and making people around the country and locally aware that Lakewood Ranch is a community that you can live in. I also manage our information center and realtor program, which I have Christine here with me today, who is your person for that, and all of our builder relationships.
Awesome, Sandy. Well, appreciate it. And I know my daughter and I have been numerous times with the family on Wednesday night ranch nights at Waterside, and that's been a great addition. Really cool. It's all pedestrian friendly and everything. So definitely a great time. If you haven't gone out, check it out for sure. All right, we'll move in. We'll start with the softball. Solve affordable housing. Go. No. No, we will touch on that later, but that's not what today's about. I think what we'll do, this will be a question we can kind of just go down in order as well, is maybe what is insight on maybe the 1 or 2, either like largest or most important major kind of top projects or developments that each one of you kind of have going on right now. Sure, Josh.
Great. Well, I think when, our organization, we assist all the local governments throughout Sarasota County under an existing interlocal agreement and a services agreement. What we find is obviously the community between the 2 county areas is very diverse. And even within Sarasota County, there's a significant amount of diversity in terms of whether it's real estate project type, commercial product type, available land use, the development pattern, where communities are developed. For instance, North Sarasota is much more developed than the city of Northport. So, we find a lot of diversity, but I think what we're seeing is that the growth within the 2 county region will really probably put us within the next 5 years at 1 million people for our metropolitan statistical area. Right now, we're about 890,000 for the 2 county area. We believe that we'll be at 1 million in about 5 years. And that's just related to the amount of single family, multifamily residential growth, the national and international relocations we're seeing into this market, which, I think what we find is about 26% of our local labor force is in a work from home, work from anywhere capacity. So that gives people a lot of mobility nationally if they have that capacity as a work from anywhere employee to come into our market, especially if they're living our high cost of living areas throughout the country. I'd say really for kind of trends that we're seeing. I mean, we could talk to the great work that's going on and the significant development that's gone on in downtown Sarasota. There's probably $1 billion of private investment going on in downtown Sarasota in addition to the Bay project. The city of Sarasota has actually just worked in an attainable housing program into their development land use regulations. And now they're looking at some of their major corridors such as North Trail, Fruitville, and South Trail to be allowed for additional density and affordable housing that would also result in more mixed use projects, which give us some opportunity to fill Class A office space as those developments come online. Whether you're looking there or you're looking at Lakewood Ranch and the growth that's going out east, both in residential as well as in the corporate park, there was a long-term vision by Lakewood Ranch Communities for the Lakewood Ranch Corporate Park over 20 years ago that really laid out how do you get people within this village concept to be able to live and work within their own communities so that we don't have people all over the roads and traveling and having a lot of commute. So there's some opportunities. We're working with Lakewood Ranch to hopefully fill some of those opportunities, whether it's there or east of 75. But I really see some great long-term 5, 10, 15-year outcomes in Central County. So around Laurel, 681, the future interchange at I-75, and then in the city of Northport. We're working hand in hand with the city governments there as well as the county to look at long-term land use planning that will allow more business development, more business park growth in all of those communities that would be able to keep up with some of the residential growth that we're seeing in those markets.
Perfect.
So I can speak to some things going on actually in the city of Bradenton. So right now, in the next 6 months, we're going to have about 416 units that will open up for workforce housing. There's a great deal of building going on within the city and around the city. There is going to be a new baseball field built at Lecom, which is going to be mainly for state and regional sports to come in and tournaments and those types of things. The Art Center Manatee is under a major reconstruction. I think you would all be missing something that in about 8 months, if you don't take a ride down there, it's going to be absolutely beautiful. It's going to transform amazingly. Then the Cortez Bridge replacement to Anna Marie Island construction is scheduled for 2025. DeSoto Bridge replacement construction scheduled for 2027. And they are talking about an additional bridge over Manatee River, but it's still being studied. They don't have, a time frame on that. So with all of these new people moving into the city, our job, Realize Bradenton, is going to be doing that placemaking and place branding and bringing all these new families and young workers and teach them and show them and educate them as to how they can get out and be a part of their community and bring people together and give them an opportunity to make the city and Manatee County, their neighborhood and make friends and kind of really settle in. And in time, I'm sure that they will be moving out, probably northeast into Lakewood Ranch. And we will also be bringing in that alone. And these huge buildings that are being built are going to bring in a lot more retail too and bigger people. So that's what I have to say.
Great. Yeah, it's really exciting news. I know sometimes, you read things online and everyone's like, oh, that's just a drop in the bucket. It's not enough, but affordability is going to be a baby step at a time. So every unit we can bring on board, every, grant we can get to make that happen, it all adds up to a bigger picture. And that's what we're going to have to try to defeat it by death by 1,000 cuts. It's not going to be one solution. We didn't get here in 5 years. It took 20, 30 to get here. It's going to take a while to get us back out. So thank you so much. We'll move on to Kelly. So what's, maybe one or two of the biggest things you guys are seeing, at Visit Sarasota County right now? And I guess kind of to follow up on it, I know it's been a theme we've talked multiple times now about sports complexes, how that's kind of impacting tourism. I know there was an article earlier this week about the indoor facility coming to Benderson. I'm sure that's going to be talked about, with your communities as well. So it seems like that's a pretty big common theme and keeps kind of floating to the top as well of from tourism and activities and some economic drivers.
So I'll say internally, one of the big things that we've been working on organization-wise this year is the strategic plan that will take us through 2030. And the reason I mention that is because it consisted of a lot of community stakeholders at the table to tell us what they need, what they're seeing, and how we can drive what we're looking at doing for the next 5 years. So we just got those results back, and it kind of goes all across the board. It covers sports, it covers leisure, it covers international, it covers a lot of different things. So we're starting to digest that and looking at the best way how we can move forward to make the biggest impact on the community, both for visitors and turning visitors into residents. So internally, that's been a big focus of ours. You may have also seen in the news in the last week or so, we signed a historic name, image, likeness deal with Emma Wyant, who is going to be competing at the Olympics. She grew up in Sarasota, and so we're just always looking for different ways to raise Sarasota to the top and keep our name relevant. So we've been working on that stuff internally. Externally, we've been working with the community in that the St. Regis is going to be opening in August of 2024. The Cirque St. Armand's Hotel, which is now Holiday Inn Lido Beach, is what you probably know it as. It will be opening at the end of 2024. So those are two big things that we've been focusing on, not only promoting it to get visitors to the area, but also, working with these folks in helping them find workforce to cover that, and making sure that when our visitors get here, they have the best experience possible and they return year after year. You mentioned the sports facility. I wanted to just talk about the new sporting facility on 17th Street. It's supposed to open in early 2025. It's going to be a game changer for that area and our area. It's going to have fields for youth and adult sports. And it's obviously, being where we are, they will be able to play year round. The park will include 8 collegiate softball fields and 4 synthetic turf multi-purpose fields. Don't ask me to translate that. I'm just passing along the message. But it's really going to be on top of what Nathan Benderson Park has done for us in the world of rowing. I think these fields are really going to turn the page for us in field sports as well. Let's see. The other thing I wanted to mention is Marie Selby Botanical Gardens. It is the first energy net positive botanical garden in the world. And you'll be seeing some information about that very soon. Big news. I can't divulge until tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., but that's all I can say.
Nice teaser.
But it's definitely going to put Marie Selby and Sarasota on the map. So just be on the lookout for that. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Where are we looking for it?
You'll see it.
Okay.
You'll see it. You can't-
Everywhere. Everywhere.
able to
Okay.
Trust me. I know you've probably all seen the new aquarium going up at UTC. So that is set to open in 2025. And so it's 110,000 square feet of aquarium. They will be keeping the facility out on the island there and using it more for research. This is just going to be more the consumer facing side, the attraction for the area. But I think those are the big things that we're working on. I think I forgot anything, but.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. And Sandy, it's probably hard to stick to, 1 or 2 major things. You guys have so much going on. I'm sure water side's probably one, but yeah, would love to just kind of get.
Yeah, so Waters, as from the business perspective, Waterside Place is open. We have 3 of the largest restaurants fully operational. The 4th one is very imminent and close to being open, Deep Lagoon Seafood. And pretty much it's all leased out. So the last few businesses will be opening up within the very near future, by the end of the year, I would say. Main Street has been getting a bit of a visual refresh in terms of some updates and its look and feel, but we also have some exciting new businesses that'll be opening up there before the end of the year. So a lot of upgrades and change and good things happening. So something always staying fresh there. From a residential perspective, we have a lot of new villages on the way. So we're roughly about 80% sold out of our current villages, but we have 4 that will be opening up in the next year, not even really 6 months, off 64. So those will bring about 5,500 units. And with all things in our master plan, we try to target a variety of demographics and offer a variety of different home types and lifestyle offerings and price points, because we do want to address workforce housing and affordability, but we want to appeal to a range of people because that's what makes a community. And we try to implement that in all of our both lifestyle offerings, commercial offerings, and then residential. But that's very exciting. And then we're hoping we'll get through all of the approvals and things that are needed to finally start opening up another about 4,500 units off of Fruitville as well. So that'll increase total home opportunity for you guys to sell to over 9,000 homes, about 9,500 homes or so, give or take when things are finalized. So it's a lot more selling in Lakewood Ranch across the spectrum. And we are not just attracting people from out of state. That is probably a little bit more than half of our buyers, but we do serve the greater local and regional community as well, with more than a third of our sales this year, about 40% actually. Sales so far this year have been from our local market, Manatee and Sarasota counties areas.
That's definitely interesting. Go ahead.
Those 4 communities, so Palm Grove is by Neal Communities. That'll open up for pre-sales before September, I would say. Del Webb Calusa is opening up in October. That's of course age restricted. Del Webb Catalina, then Calusa Golf and Country Club is from Lennar. That's very similar to their Lakewood National or Sarasota National product. That'll be opening up before the end of the year for pre-sales. Age targeted, but certainly open for all. And then Saddlestone, which will be a continuation of Star Farms, that'll be opening up early next year.
So I think from our perspective, a lot of what we hear from our partners and, just the amount of growth over the area is really, that's what appeals to the business community that we're trying to attract. So, we only really focus on 5 verticals. That'll be your corporate headquarters, the technology industry, creative tech around the Ringling College, manufacturing and logistics, as well as life sciences, with Moat Marine being within our life sciences cluster. So for us, when we look at our major current industries, our major employers within Sarasota County, those industries are going to be retail, hospitality, healthcare, construction, and the like. And a lot of those industries are highly cyclical depending upon the economy. And if there was any type of major natural disaster event, red tide, the BP oil spill, whatever it may be, those have impacts on the local economy that can really affect the local job market as well as the flow of dollars in and out of those industries. So we're really using the assets that all of our partners are creating, whether you're doing a nice, master plan commercial center with waterside, there's some attainable housing there, splash pad that's there. If you haven't been to the splash pad with the families, that's really a great selling point. It's a nice thing to have in your backyard. But, just thinking about the amenities and the things that the communities are doing throughout the 2-county region really gives us opportunities as an economic development corporation to market those assets, but also bring those companies in for a higher level of discussion to get them to bring their overall investment here.
Yeah, and that goes for us for just selling homes as well. It's all connected. We need to have job growth here to bring more people to our region, but we also need, as we are a master plan, so we try to bring those jobs within the master plan. We try to bring the lifestyle, shopping and dining and all that and activity within the master plan. But it's also very appealing for people to be able to go to downtown Sarasota and go to the Selby Gardens, to go to downtown Bradenton and participate in the arts scene down there. It's important that people know that there's more to do than just within, a couple miles of their house. But also one of the biggest trends that we've seen is that people really are looking for conveniences. So they want things very close to their home. They want to make sure that they have services, medical, schools, accessibility near their homes, but they want fun just beyond their doorstep too. So whatever is going on within our 2-county region, it all really works together and supports each other in a way. If I bring more homes and residents here, they're going to be participants of your guys' events. There's places for a new company to say, hey, there's homes that you can have your employee base live in, and we can have an employee base that has jobs. So.
And I know a touch point that I know our commercial Korea division always talks about is you can't just build these neighborhoods with thousands of homes and have nothing else for them. It's one thing about creating jobs that's close to where they're working, but it's also where they're getting their teeth cleaned. And I love seeing everything, just south of Fruitville and the Waterside development with a lot of the commercial mixed in. You got office, you got business. So everyone there isn't having to clog up the roads and fight through, 75 to all come across the other side to get what they need. So I think a lot of that commercial infill development out there east of 75 is going to alleviate some of those issues too, which is going to be nice to see. We'll switch up a little. We'll start down the end with you, Sandy. We'll kind of maybe do a little bit more targeted questions now and kind of move down. You kind of, mentioned the mix. And I think these stats maybe just a little bit lagged for maybe today. But about maybe 30 to 40% of the sales were in that kind of 500 to 700, 750 range in Lakewood Ranch. Obviously about 1% was less than 300. I think most of it's being new construction. It's almost impossible to hit that price point, even in a townhome or a villa. And between, 12 to 15% or so were like over $1 million. I think for one, it's maybe a misconception that a lot of us have that everything out in Lakewood Ranch is millions of dollars. You mentioned the 4 new communities coming, kind of just knowing the players and the builders. I have an idea, but do you have an idea of when you release these, what are you targeting these specific percentages of, what the inventory is going to look like, kind of how they review a condo tower and say how many 2 bedrooms or 3, or are you getting a little bit more into like, well, I can't tell Pat what to do in here versus what you're going to, you try to find that mix as a whole.
So it's a little bit of both. So when we are looking at, we've transitioned our business model as a developer throughout the years, and now we are in more of and recently until Waterside have been in a pod sale position, which means we sell a large tract of land to a builder. And it's really up to that builder because they now own the land of what they're going to put in there. But we're kind of looking at our overall mix and what we need, where our product is, where the gaps are, and we're working with the builder for them to bring that product online. So I'm not going to tell Pat to build X amount of 2-story homes and X amount of 3 bedrooms or anything like that. But we are saying, hey, we're going to be really low on supply of family targeted homes. You should make that neighborhood a family targeted neighborhood. And this one over here may be more luxury. Or we're going to say if 2 people want a pod, we're going to go with the builder that's going to build the product that we need, because we don't want to be oversaturated. We want to have the variety. So we are working together with our builders to make sure that we have the variety of product, a variety of price points, and a variety of just general options that would appeal to these different segment audiences, so we can keep up pace as well. That is our business. Going back to what you said about the perception of affordability, I think that's an overall challenge. I think Lakewood Ranch does get a little bit more of a stigma about that, but it's an overall challenge. And just year to date, we've actually had 30% of our homes under 500K, and then 30% of our homes in 500 to 700. There are homes, single family homes that start at under 400,000. Now they're not everywhere. I would say the more bread to butter is that 450 to 600 starting range, but there are options in the high 3s and low 4s for single family homes detached in Lakewood Ranch. And our builders have really done a great job at combating this affordability challenge, especially in those more entry level type market, with offering incentives. Some homes, usually move-in ready homes, have interest rate buy downs, sometimes a lower rate for 30 years, sometimes I've seen as low as in the 4% for the first year and then 5% thereafter. Also incentives on closing cash. So if, these entry level first time home buyers might not have as much cash stocked up to not only put on down payment, but closing costs. So there's a lot of incentives out there to help with affordability, as well as just bringing on product for that price point. And when those two work together, you can really achieve the homeownership dream for those workforce housing, entry level type buyers.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, we'll move over to Kelly. You did mention obviously what you guys are working on internally and looking at where our visitors are coming from. And I know international has been able to pick back up in the last year or two since everything's kind of rolled back in from travel issues with COVID. Kind of a 2-part question. Do you have a idea or ballpark kind of how that, demographic breaks down, age, where they're coming from, what they're coming here for? And then obviously from our perspective, is there any data link of maybe who's come here, visited, and any way to tie that into ones that have either purchased as a second home investment property or potentially have moved here and made it their homestead?
Sure. So for for visitors that come to the area domestically, we're looking at people from the Northeast and the Southeast and the Midwest primarily. That typically stays the same month after month, year over year. That's really what we're seeing. For a while, we were seeing a lot of California, a lot of Texas, a lot of, different areas that we didn't normally see. But by and large, it's New York, Chicago, Atlanta, we're seeing all of that area. Internationally, we've got Toronto, London, Berlin. Those are big international. I would say of the visitation that we get, about 10% of it is international versus 90% domestic. The good thing about the international traveler is that they tend to come when the domestic visitors are not coming. So our roads are clogged, Thanksgiving through Easter pretty much with domestic visitors and snowbirds. The international traveler tends to come at a different time, at a slower season for us, which is great. So it gives us that year-round visitation that we need in the destination. If we could even it out a little bit more from the domestic market, that'd be great. But that's pretty much what we're seeing there. As far as research goes, we really track the overnight visitation only. I don't unfortunately have a lot of numbers for the number of snowbirds that come into the destination, because a lot of them have their own homes and we just don't track that. So as far as conversion rates, I wouldn't really have that
Yeah,
either. Somewhere along the
There
way, I
might be some data
heard
points that would overlap, but it's
somewhere along the way, I heard that it was about a 14% conversion of visitors, but over what period of time, I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you, and I don't want to guess on that.
Perfect. Yeah, I figure that's a tough one, but any insight, and I think a lot of us have clients that have been visiting or had a grandma who lived here, whatever it used to be, and they've come here for a long time. A
Yeah.
lot of them are saying it's definitely a lot different than they remember, when they used to visit, but still have those memories, and that's what's still drawing them here.
Well, we have 47% of people who come here come to vacation, 39% are to visit friends and relatives, and 30% are just to relax and unwind. So, if you look at the 47% coming to vacation and we have over 90% visitor return rate year after year, you can probably safely bet that, they're returning and eventually, they're going to want to buy a primary home or a secondary home here.
Kelly, maybe we could talk a little bit about Work Where You Want to Live, our joint campaign between the EDC and Visit Sarasota County. So one of the things that we saw, especially with the COVID pandemic, is that people were relocating. And so the organizations wanted to capitalize on that momentum. So we launched this national level campaign called Work Where You Want to Live. We work with USA Today, and we ran publication ads in our major metros for relocations. So that Chicago, DC, New York, Northeast region. The idea was that we wanted to talk about the benefits of not only relocating here as a full-time resident with your potential remote work employment, but also finding opportunities that are locally here with local companies in terms of higher, better quality of life. You're getting out of the snow. You weren't locked in your home. And we've run that campaign jointly for at least 3 years now. And we've seen a lot of traction. So what we've done is we've gone out to those major markets. And one of the things that we did to help our local employers was actually launch a job search tool. And so it's free to the business community. We basically crawl all the private listings. If you go to our Work Where You Want to Live website, branding campaign, you'll be able to go in there, search any type of job within any sector, and you'll have immediate openings. So if you're sitting there and it's February in Ohio, it sure looks good to come to Florida. And so we've had a lot of success in that.
Oh, that sounds like a great partnership. All right, Karen, we'll move on. Obviously, you guys have done a great job activating, downtown Bradenton, Riverwalk specifically. We all know there's a lot of big changes potentially on the horizon with City Hall in downtown, with the new Marriott. I think it just had their soft opening this week. There's some really exciting, major projects coming. What are you kind of going to expect? I mean, I know some of these will be multi-year projects, especially City Hall. What are you kind of seeing in the horizon for the next couple of years of what that's going to either demand for some more activities. There's going to obviously be some cons of construction and roads, and how are you going to move, all these new people going back and forth over that bridge? But kind of what do you see maybe as the most exciting things? I'm going to keep everything positive. In the next year or two, what's going to happen kind of in that little corridor, because there is so much going on in, I don't know, maybe a 1 mile radius.
Well, we are going to have to manage the construction. I mean, there's just no getting around that. But I think with the arts and culture being a real focus throughout Manatee County right now, I think that's going to kind of be the key of keeping people together and getting them out and enjoying what we're doing. I Realize Bradenton, we already mentioned the market, which we have 35 Saturdays a year from October through October 1st through the end of May. We also have an entrepreneurial program, which is pretty interesting. We've been running it for about 4 years now. It's small, it's free, it's a 9-week course. And if you do your homework and you put the effort into it, you will come out with a work plan. And what that has done that we did not see coming is a lot of our graduates have used the market as a jumping off point. And what it has done is we've gotten quite a few women who started their own businesses and wanted to be home and are able now, they've left their full-time jobs in order to support their families. It really has, and Realize Bradenton does a lot of those types of things. And back to your point, we're having to, the place branding and the place making. So one of the things that won't change over the next few years is the Riverwalk. And it's also not for, public consumption yet, but we're working on a very large event to highlight all of the things in culture and arts and artists and performers in April. Stay tuned. And what that will do, we'll be able to share with everyone in the county to come on down, because we are going to be highlighting a lot of culture and arts and performers. And it's going to be, and we're going to use the entire Riverwalk to do that, so that people will learn when it's there. As far as the next few years, traffic is traffic.
Yeah.
Shockingly enough, there were over 10,000 people that came down for the fireworks on just the Bradenton side. I don't know how many were on the Palmetto side. People figure it out. If you want to be in the city and you want to go, they figure it out, and they will continue to do so as we grow and expand.
Absolutely. No, and honestly, I think, I moved back here in 2011, early 2011. And when I first went down the Manatee River and downtown Bradenton, it's just the transformation that's happened in such a quick pace. I don't think we'd be talking about sale of City Hall and Marriott building it and putting in rooftop, pools and restaurants.
No.
If the Riverwalk never happened,
Ferries.
it wouldn't even be here.
Many of you are aware, but there's ferries now that go from Bradenton at the river all the way down to Anna Maria and back. We have 2 that are running now.
What is the schedule now? Because I know there has been questions of people curious of what's the schedule and how it's operating. And
There's still 2 ferries. They're operating every day. They're full. I haven't been able to get you. Don't think you're going to go down there and just jump on the ferry, because that's not going to happen. Yeah. But I know that there's 2 more boats on order. You also have to watch out for the weather, because these are 2 open boats. But this was, kind of a trial thing. But I can't tell you, people are clamoring from Anna Maria all the way up through Palmetto. They want that ferry coming, to their area. I think that's going to be.
And if they start doing any bridge work, any other way we can move people from the mainland
from
to the
one
Barrier
place
Islands
to
is
the other,
gonna be
right? Yeah. No, I
crucial.
think that's going to be another exciting piece.
Yep. Okay. Oh, you did it?
Way worth it, wait for that traffic on the island.
Yeah.
It
No.
was a nice ride.
Awesome. Well, yeah, hopefully we'll continue to find creative ways to move people on and off the islands for sure. All right, Josh, we'll move to you. Obviously, your role is to entice businesses to come here, invest here. I think we've all probably had stories and seen with kind of the C-suite level people coming here, building their mansions in Lakewood Ranch or a nice house on the water. But we're seeing more and more of them wanting to say, I don't want to get on a plane every week and go back to headquarters, and trying to move, like you said, a real big focus on corporate headquarters here. And then the next hurdle, of course, right back into everything else, affordability for their employees if they're going to move a headquarters here. I know there's been a few larger firms that have talked about, and there's been ideas pushed around about maybe them doing some of their own workforce housing internally. Just curious kind of what maybe your guys' role in trying to help them, or any kind of those creative, new ways to look at this, that they can find opportunities, whether they get additional density if they build, that's the other question. Can they get some of those dollars? But if they're not going out to the public consumption, now that's the hurdle too. So there's some kind of creative ideas, but how do we kind of massage that?
Great. Yeah, I think, when we look at the role and scope that we have as an organization, I mean, we are really the group that goes out and competes for projects. We're doing very technical work. We're doing very, policy level work. We're working with companies on, long-term visioning and planning. Are they wanting to come to the Southeast? Great. Are they wanting to come to Florida? Okay, great. Do you know about Sarasota? That's our job. We need to make sure that they're aware of Sarasota, but then also once they're aware of it, maybe they connect here and they're visiting as a visiting CEO. What we find often is grandma, grandpa lived here, mom and dad lived here. They're living here full time. I'm a CEO with a family. I want to reconnect with my family, and I maybe grew up here. So we see that a lot in terms of trends and why people do end up investing with their companies, whether it's a C-suite in a Class A office building or bringing their manufacturing facility out of the Northeast. In terms of kind of what we're seeing, probably when we're looking out, we're working with a project from the day that they contact us and we provide free services to them. It could take a number of years. A lot of, I'd say our project pipeline, we probably have about 85 projects in their pipeline. Half of those are leads. So they contact us once, they go dormant for a year, and then maybe they spring up and say, hey, I really like Sarasota. I'll be there tomorrow. Tell me more. And that's because they're visiting.
We're
Right?
very well aware of how that works.
So, in terms of like our project pipeline, we have about 15 projects, whether they're manufacturing or technology companies that are either coming or locally expanding here. So our role is to help facilitate their growth, to make sure that from that last touch point to getting them open is very seamless. Of those 15 projects, a variety of probably about 50% of those is going to be in manufacturing space. We see a significant push towards manufacturing, especially in the work that we do, which will result in millions of dollars in capital investment, new local tax revenue, and hundreds of jobs. So we're continuing to work those projects. Just to give you an idea, I guess when we're looking at from a competitive nature, we do handle everything confidentially, just to make sure that company entrusts us to move their project forward in a sensitive manner. But an idea of some of the companies we're working with a pharmaceutical companies out of New Jersey. They do logistics and international trade. So they're looking to bring their C-suite to downtown Sarasota, probably be about 10 people, a multi-million-dollar project in redeveloping a property in downtown. So we're working with that owner who actually relocated here to be closer to his family. We're also working with a energy tech president who has a company of 900. They're looking to bring their C-suite here. Again, he relocated here, lives here full time. His company's in New York. And, obviously he has some opportunity, but he's trying to grow his Florida footprint. He'd like to do it in Sarasota. We're helping him from that perspective. And then one of the things that we also find is that as we're a great destination for tourism, we're also finding that we're still on the radar from an international level. So one of the companies we've been working with pretty much hand in hand is an Israeli medical device manufacturing company that does next generation devices, and has already been through some venture capital rounds, is looking from Sarasota to Tampa. So how do we continue to be on that company's radar, and how do we make it seamless if they want to come and invest their money and bring 30 to 40 employees and about a $10 million project to East County is what our hope is. So just in terms of our attraction projects, that's what we're doing day to day. I'd say when it comes to workforce housing, we hear this from all of our local major employers. It doesn't matter what industry they're in. Affordable housing, workforce housing is a significant county, regional, national issue. So we're not necessarily an affordable housing developer, but what our role is as we're working and hearing from major pinch points with these employers is how do we get them to the right people, the right policymakers, so that they can have influence on the market. So one of the things that we've been doing is working with One Stop Housing, the Van Groff family, Mark Van Groff, who's the president and CEO, who has affordable housing as well as workforce housing. He's looking to do potentially two projects. One is about 200 units in downtown Sarasota that would be workforce related housing, anywhere between 80% AMI to 120% AMI. And what he's asked us to do, and we've brought together some of the largest industry players to talk about equity partnerships where these companies would invest in the project. In exchange, they'd be an equity owner in that multifamily residential complex, and they would reserve units for their employees as first come, first serve. If they don't use those units, they're turned over to additional workforce eligible income employees throughout the region. So I think that's a great opportunity for us to be the gap between the major industry that we have here and affordable housing developers. And then we also have that one-on-one relationship with our county government partners, and we're tracking along what they're doing in the affordable housing space relating to investments such as resilient SRQ and various things that the city and counties are doing in terms of policy when it relates to affordable housing.
Well, that's great. I love the creativity for sure.
I'll add really quick about workforce housing. What we've seen in the hospitality space is some of the hotels in the area have begun to take it upon themselves to get workforce housing for their workers so that they can make sure that their workers are in the area and don't have to travel far and can afford to live and work here. So that is also something that we're seeing on our end as well.
Yeah, I know. I think the number was 600 people they're trying to hire for the St. Regis. That's gonna be a tough one. It's kind of a follow-up for both you, Kelly and Josh too. Kind of switching gears a little bit. I know Rick Piccolo was here one of the last times we had an update. Obviously, we've seen astronomical growth in the airport. That helps all of our businesses. It gets more people here, more eyeballs here, more businesses flying down to check things out. We know there's been a lot of legislation recently passed with Live Local out of Tallahassee, comp plan changes to the main thoroughfare. But you know, for the last 15 years too, the conversation's been people land at the airport, they start heading downtown and they go, wait, what, where am I? Until they get to maybe, you know, 17th or 10th. And then they go, oh, now I'm here. I know there's been a lot of discussions. There's been some policy. There's been some legislation. I think there's maybe a few projects that are in the process now trying to get approved. Is there anything you guys are working on? Obviously, we got Ringling, we got, Jungle Gardens, other things that have promoted attractions along that strip. Anything you guys are aware of or collaborating on to try to continue pushing that kind of redevelopment between the airport and downtown Sarasota?
Well, I think when it comes to how do we create reinvestment in the North Trail area between the airport and downtown Sarasota, I think really it's the jurisdiction there is the city of Sarasota. So what they've looked at is an attainable housing density bonus for mixed use development within that trail corridor. So they've had a successful pass of that in the downtown core. The city commission was looking at approving that recently as well for those major corridors. I think that would be good because one, I think it could increase the amount of affordable housing and workforce housing, not only for the airport, which is the fastest growing mid-sized airport in the country, but also for students. So we have, the Cross College Alliance there. We have the 3 or 4 major institutions that are in that area. How do we help facilitate their student presence as well as their faculty presence on those campuses? I think all 3 projects are universities have projects going on right now, which will overall lead to the long-term revitalization. USF has just completed their student housing. They're in with the state of Florida for a grant for a STEM facility. That would be their nursing, state-of-the-art nursing facility, as well as a biology center. New College obviously is going through master planning, and they're looking at a variety of things with the development of their overall master plan. And then Ringling College just announced, well, they've been in the announcement process of about a $90 million innovation center that will be a gaming and next generation art and creative center for the college. And it'll be their landmark building right there on North Trail. So I think what we'll find is as the colleges are maturing and they're getting more on-campus student housing as well as more program offerings, that will actually increase some visibility in the trail.
Nice. Let's see what time we got. We still got time. I want to make sure we leave some time for questions and one final one. Let's see, Sandy, what do you see? What's the biggest trend you think that us as realtors and brokers should be keeping an eye on and watching in the next year or two in general? I know it's a tough question. It's kind of broad, but.
Well, the thing that we've been noticing the most is that our customers are doing more research. So they're taking a lot more time to explore their options. I think there was the COVID rush where a lot of people made or felt that if they were going to make a decision, that they had to make it very, very quickly. And now we're seeing people fatigue from that. And so now almost doing a lot of due diligence. So exploring, it's back to exploring multiple areas of Florida, multiple areas within the Sarasota Manatee County area, asking a lot of detailed questions and just going back multiple times. So I think just being aware that you as realtors need to be patient, but also expect to show them multiple options and highlight pros and cons of them so they can feel very confident in their decisions. Sometimes it's even seeing things that they know or that you might know is not a fit to make them confident in their what you think is a fit for them. And to do that, really stay up to date on what's going on. Just Lakewood Ranch in itself is a lot to keep up with. So shameless plug. Please visit our information center and get updates so you know what's new and options, because it's a lot to keep up with just in Lakewood Ranch, yet alone the 2-county area. So that's probably the biggest thing, just to be aware of the consumer's mindset and adapt to that. And another thing is just be aware of what the builders are offering so you can, again, address any financial concerns.
I think one thing we all know is, yeah, obviously our day-to-day operations and job is to help people buy and sell real estate. But we always say, what we really sell is a lifestyle, a quality of life, a place. I think every one of you guys in your organizations are a very important part of, a leg of the stool that makes this place so special. It makes people want to be here. In a weird way, we're a victim of our own success. A lot of the complaints we have are because people want to be here. It's a beautiful place. So it's a pro and con. It's a double-edged sword. So it's always a balance on that. You guys do so much that helps us explain why people want to live here. What can we do? And maybe we'll just start with you, Josh, and work our way down. What can we do as an association, as members, as, almost 10,000 members strong? What can we do to help support what you guys have going on? Make sure when these things are going in front of policymakers, we're trying to fight for city, state, federal dollars to come here versus another community in the state. What can we do to make sure we're supporting you guys?
Yeah, I'd say when it comes to us as an organization, how we support the local real estate community, a variety of things. One is as you're working with a C-suite or CEO who's thinking about relocating their company out somewhere else in the state or the country, we'd be glad to be that resource to you. We could be glad to navigate all the business process and startup process here within the community. So please use us as a resource. But I think, I've been before the CREA group here, and I think the biggest thing that we have as a community is we need to make sure that we're prioritizing space through land use policy as well as development that allows for business park development and future jobs for those future residents as well as existing residents long term. I think the community as a whole, as I mentioned, will probably be at 1 million people in 5 years. I think that trajectory is probably going to continue until we get to a build out status. I mean, just think about a city like Northport. Northport's currently at 85,000 people. Their build out capacity is 250,000 people. So how do we make sure that there's enough jobs to meet the overall resident demand for those who are working to have full-time employment in our community, as well as high wage jobs? So for us, we've been really working on site-by-site development to try to create business park opportunities on some of our major corridors in association with Sarasota County government. So that'd be like Fruitville, the future Lorraine Road, South River Road. There's folks in this association who are listing potential OUE rural property that can be converted, and we'd be glad to help introduce to developers as well as walk that owner and the agent through that process. But we really see a significant need for making sure that we're a well-rounded, comprehensive community when it comes to the business footprint of our county.
Nice. Karen, what can we do to help you guys?
Well, I'm sure all of you know the data as how arts and culture play a part in the role of a balanced lifestyle, and that is what you are trying to sell to your base of home buyers. I think it's going to be really important that you keep in front of all the policymakers that supporting arts and culture is going to be paramount to keeping them alive. A lot of nonprofits, a lot of artists, a lot of history here, and without support from the government, it's going to be a tough road to hoe.
I would say for us, echoing what Josh said, make sure that you use us as a resource. We do have 3 visitor centers in the destination that you can visit as a realtor and pick up information. You can pick up our visitor guide. You can pick up information about the arts or specific areas of Sarasota County. A lot of people love maps, maps of the parks, maps of different areas of the county. So feel free to use those resources for yourself and for your clients. The other thing is to remember that every visitor that comes here creates jobs. So we can always work together in making sure that, our visitors are, seeing the best of Sarasota County and then knowing that it turns into jobs. The other thing I want to mention is that on our website, we do also offer a form that potential folks looking to relocate here can fill out and we'll send them a relocation packet. So if you know of somebody who is maybe on the fence out of the area, you yourself, or you can have them go to our website and fill that out. And every single week we get a list where, whoever has filled out that form, we will mail them an entire relocation packet about Sarasota County, including information on work where you want to live, and a collaboration piece that the EDC and Visit Sarasota has done. So again, really for us, our goal is to promote Sarasota County on the world stage. So however we can help you bring people here, whether it's a friend looking to visit or somebody looking to move here, please just use us as a resource.
And if I do remember, you guys have a bunch of photos that anyone can snag and use. And I can't tell you how much I hate when I see a beautiful house and in the background, there's like a mountain. And I'm like,
Yes.
what is that?
Thank you.
But yeah, so a lot of great photography that's free to use of our local areas, of our beaches. So you're not worried about just trying to snag something off the internet or anything.
Yeah, so Sarasota County brandtoolkit.com. We have an image library there. There are hundreds of photos that you can select. All you have to do are pick the ones that you want. We get a request for you to use them, and they're yours to use. Sarasota County pays for that. So our brand is your brand. So please feel free to utilize that in your materials. We would love for you to do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great resource. Brand. Maybe we can, I'm sure Derek, can we maybe shoot an email out to everyone who registered, and maybe we can put a couple links or whatever out there, so.
So my piece of advice or how you guys could help us is just be knowledgeable, because when people do move here and when they choose to relocate here, especially, we want them to be really happy and feel like they picked the right place. We did see a lot of those decisions that happened in 2021. We're seeing them back in market and moving around. They know that they like the area, but they are moving around, and that's not a bad thing for me, but it's also, we want people to move here happy and very confident in their decisions, because we do see a lot of our residents having their friends and family visit here. So that impacts the tourism economy. Then those visitors might own a business and it impacts the business economy. They're enjoying the arts. So we want people to be really happy here. So just stay up to date on information, be knowledgeable about what there is out there and how you can find this information. That way they move here and they're really secure and they get those visitors here faster.
Awesome. Well, once again, thank you guys so much. I would like to open it now. If we got any open Q&A, any specific questions we didn't get to? Yes, ma'am.
So if you go to visitsarasotacounty.com, visitsarasota.com, on our website at the very bottom of the page, you'll see relocation resources. If you click on that, it will give you a bunch of resources, one of them which is filling out a form for a relocation packet.
And I just want to share that Lakewood Ranch does have materials available as well to send out. So you can send out our community magazine, maps, or anything else. And you can request that through Christine or through our website at lakewoodranch.com. And we also do virtual overviews. And of course, we do focus on Lakewood Ranch. But if someone is unfamiliar with the area, our community specialist will explain, the major sites like proximity to beaches, the lay of the land of where downtown Sarasota is, all of that. So we can be a support to you guys in that regard as well.
And Sandy, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it's a digital newsletter or if it just comes out periodically where you kind of do like a village spotlight, where you kind of
Yep.
dig deeper into like each one,
Yeah.
because I think that's the hardest part of, I fully understand when you're like, for us to be informed, it's very hard to stay on top of all the new construction. Even certain communities have 2 or 3 phases inside of them where one's maintenance free, one's not. So I think it's a lot of times, especially for clients, if they've only maybe visited once, they're looking online and they're like, this house is right across the street and the fees are triple and, so I think sometimes when I've been able to share those with, hey, this goes really deep into this one specific community, and you got to kind of look at them, in each little township themselves, because it's going to be a different product, a different
Right.
set of rights and privileges. So.
Yeah, so I do encourage, if you are not signed up for our emails, to do that, because not only do we share village highlights, we'll also highlight builder incentives from time to time, realtor incentives if you're on our realtor list or realtor Facebook group. Also all of our events. So if you have somebody that's really wanting to get here and explore, because that really, if someone's on the fence, getting them out to an event really helps them understand the community that they're living in. And our website has Home Finder, so it lists every single floor plan from all of our builders all in one place, which is different than needing to go to 19 different builders. Different sites or MLS to see the quick move-ins only. You can do it all on our website too. So give it a good browse, and Christine can also walk you through all of that and give you overviews of all the tools. So hopefully Christine gets bombarded after this.
Oh, ma'am?
Yeah, we're a little bit more limited and constrained, but we do have options. So Christine can do that as well. We don't have like the home photos. That would have to be from your listing. We do have some rules as well of how you can use them, but we can explain those to you.
Oh, Elise, do you have something?
Well, since they're giving out websites, does Karen, do you guys realize Bradenton have a website and stuff for everything else?
realizebradenton.com, and if you go there, it will immediately ask you to sign up for our newsletter, which we do not fill your inboxes. We're very good about that. We've been putting out once a month, and it gives you a list of all the things going on in the Bradenton area that Realize Bradenton is working on. So just go and sign up, and I promise you will see everything that you need. The entrepreneurship. So August 1st, go to our website, you'll find the Startup Circle. It's an entrepreneurship program, and it's free. However, you do have to apply. So you will find the application out there August 1st for our next cohort that will start in September.
Sir?
I think our
Sorry. No, go ahead.
website is
Yeah.
edcsarasotacounty.com. It's really geared towards business development. We do have a tool in there for small, if you're working, especially on the real estate, commercial real estate side, small business tool that's there. It's everything from access to capital to entrepreneurship program, resources, small business counseling. There's a full resource, and then any small business owner throughout the county can give us a call, and we'll help them navigate as a resource to them.
Yes, sir.
That's not really the question. With Welling getting its wheels underneath it, when you have your closed door meetings with the higher powered managers at Lakewood, how much of a threat to the success and pace of Lakewood do you guys really Welling? And is there anyone other than Welling that would be party to that conversation?
So let me answer your first question first, because it's easier. shockingly enough. No, I don't have a crystal ball. I'm really good at analyzing historical insights. I have realized that I am really bad at projecting. We did not think that when, I remember May 2020 being like, oh God, we're all out of jobs. And then all of a sudden we had a housing boom. And we've exceeded our projections the past 2 years of sales. So it really, the market dictates. I'm going to go with a very broad 7 to 12 years because it also matters when Southeast can come online and the court system's fun. So anyways, so to your second question about competition, yes, we do look at the competitive market and there is the larger scale development like Welland Park, but then there's also a tremendous amount of growth in the parish area off of State Road 64 and north of that. That does both Welland Park and that area typically offer a lot of our same builders. I think it's something like 15 of our builders build in Welland Park as well. So there is the reality that people can go to one of those two locations and get prices for a bit discounted than what they'd find in Lakewood Ranch. But what they don't get in those areas is the variety of lifestyle. So in Parish, there's really like there's no town center. They come down, drive 20 minutes, 30 minutes to go to Main Street and Waterside Place and use that as their lifestyle facilities. There's nothing really aggregated around there's just a lot of really nice subdivisions. Welland Park, of course, says they're town center, but they're developed a bit differently than us. We have a more holistic master plan than what they do. So certain features are more prevalent in our development in terms of access to services, roadways developed for the future. And everything's in place now in Lakewood Ranch. We've got a hospital, we've got medical services, we've got schools built. So if somebody wants to experience that from day one, that's going to be a differentiator as well. So we have variety, structure, and it in place. So, but yes, that's my more PC answer, I would say. I would say that I'll just say this is my last thing. This is what I was going to hold back on. We also are a bit more of a lifestyle innovator, I think, than them. Yeah. If their calendar of events looks very similar a year later. That's the closed door.
That's the closed door
That's the
conversation.
closed door jabs.
All right, we got a little behind the curtain speak there. Any other?
I joked on Monday in our team meeting that I'm gonna just create a fake event and see if they do it.
That is true too.
Well, I come from a company that likes to innovate, so that's why we reinvent the wheel.
Do we have any last questions? Please, one more.
Because I'm in Manson County, so I'm gonna ask Karen. So, with them with Lakewood Ranch always has their farmer's market all year round. I know we stop ours. It's a very well-attended farmer's market. Is there any talk about doing ours longer? Because I know I've had a lot of people ask because they're wondering why we're not farmer's market now. It's hot. I get that, but is there?
Well, I don't know if you know this, but we did one June, July, and August. There's another one coming up, and it is hot. And, there's shade, but there's not a lot of shade down there. And quite honestly, our numbers, we won't be able to get the vendors. I know at Lakewood Ranch, in order to keep their vendors, in order to be a vendor there, you have to be year round. Which is how they do that. That's not how we operate.
I'll give you some insight just from how we came up with our model and how we compared to other ones. The growing season in Florida also dictates a lot of the farmers markets because your produce is really available October through May. So that dictates a lot of not year round in addition to the weather rain gets much more problematic where you end up canceling. We also purposely decided to hold our farmers market on Sundays, so we weren't competing with other farmers markets on Saturdays for vendors. There are some really great vendors that participate in the Bradenton Farmers Market, Sarasota Farmers Market that will not do it on Sundays. Like Sundays is their family day, and that was a decision that we knew of. But it is an also just of availability of vendors that makes that decision too.
Now, you guys do shut the Wednesday ranch nights only.
Yeah, yeah. I think we would have had to cancel it every single
Yeah,
week
that's
so
what-
far
yeah.
this summer, and we would love to. I mean, it's so popular, it's so
Just
fun.
logistics.
But it's just logistically, I mean, it rains every day at 5 o'clock, it seems like lately. So
Mhm.
We have
Absolutely.
had that, our team meetings, we've had this conversation, and basically, to your point, it would have to be an indoor market.
yeah,
You'd
it's,
have to
it's,
find
it
some
becomes,
place if you're gonna do it, you know,
it's a communication challenge then, it's a safety challenge, it's logistics, it's all the things.
They have been.
Open-sided structure and just get people out. Might allow you to extend that.
Well, I'm sure you guys can speak more on this, but I know there's been a lot of creative ideas in the last 10 or 15 years that's come in front of the cities and the counties to do these types of things. And it doesn't seem to be a lot of appetite from the policy side to allow that to happen.
It's comes down to the economics that you're gonna get from the construction costs. And, you know, the city isn't making, we don't make money on the farmer's market. You don't, I'm sure you don't. It's something that we host because it's a lifestyle arm for our residents. It does support traffic to our town center tenants or your Main Street tenants. And it supports small businesses in our area. But as a landowner, we don't make money off of that. We actually probably, I mean, we have to close the street and all of that. So it becomes an economics then add to the construction cost of a building like that. I don't see it happening, but never say never.
without our vendors, we wouldn't be able to hold markets, correct? And so the piece there is that we don't make money. And part of the reason that we have as many vendors is we do best that we can to keep their vendor costs low. So what the rent that we're charging them is very low, so they can make money. And no, we don't make money on it's truly something we do to promote our cities and our, you know, and our communities. So there's no way we would be able to.
And I'm sure for something like that, you'd have to go to a booth rental model. That would be much more expensive than what we charge.
Okay, I think we're all set. Well, I just want to appreciate your guys' time. I know it's very valuable to take this much time out and come here and share your knowledge with us. We truly do appreciate it. Let's give everybody a round of applause, please. And I'm sure maybe if anyone has a few questions, you can try to snag them before everyone's got to get rolling. But once again, just thank you guys so much. We truly appreciate it. And hopefully you guys know this is a two-way communication. So anything you guys ever need, reach out to us for an association, anything we can do to support what you guys have going on, push events you have, anything that we need to, you know, try to pack a commission chamber to get something, let us know and we'll do everything we can.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, no problem. Appreciate you. Yes, yes.
So you took me.
It's
First met over at Lakewood Ranch and the Humvee.